Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris Hawkes, and this is your Best Life Defined. Thanks for tuning in. I'm still here, still showing up, thank goodness. This is feeling pretty good. I don't know, I did a podcast yesterday about owning it, right? There's a motivation. I keep talking about how to achieve success, and basically what amounts to from the direction in for this podcast, it's about waking up and actually being able to set goals for yourself that actually change the direction of your life, change the trajectory of your life. And that trajectory and those decisions are based on the idea that by connecting our choices to who we are, rather than listening to the public narrative and falling into this trap that we have been indoctrinated into about what happiness looks like, and actually stepping away from that and developing a plan that's built on who we are and not so much on what the world expects us to be, because that's the burden right now. I mean, it's easy for us to want a house, especially now. There seems to be this feeling of scarcity about this whole housing market. And it's not just the housing market. There's a lot of scarcity in society right now. And I think what's happened is retailers, whether it's real estate or cars or whatever, have figured out the scarcity, especially amid uncertainty like a pandemic, can make people do some crazy stuff. So I'm watching this thing go on, but how do you align your thinking with who you are and negate all of that negative influence? A couple ways you can do it. First thing is you can kind of limit the amount of influence that these ideas have on you, right? I talk a little smack about social media. I apologize for that, because I look at it, and believe me, I'm not perfect. I have been caught in that trap. In fact, this week I got caught on TikTok. I got in a TikTok role where for an hour, I'm sitting down there. I was going to check my TikTok account out because I had posted a new video, and the next thing I know, it's an hour and a half, hour later, something like that. And I'm like, where in the hell did the time go? My God, I lost all that productivity, right? How do you take those ideas about living your best life to the next level? This is where the story comes in. If you go back and listen to my podcast, I keep talking about this visualization, this story that I create about my success. I work out and I try and watch my diet, and I really try and stay in shape, because this podcast is going to make me famous. Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, I don't know, someone is going to say, hey, Chris, can you be on our show? And there I'm going to be on video. And God forbid, the last thing I want to do is be this up-and-coming motivational speaker, this up-and-coming influencer, and show up there and have all these great ideas, these great podcasts about how to live your best life, and then I show up there all out of shape, with no muscle, all beat down, this rickety old man over there just barely getting around. Doesn't really fit the story, right? So this is where I find the motivation to work out. It's partly when I have those bad days and I say, and not to say there aren't days. I mean, I think 3 days this week I headed out of the house and I had told myself, I had been dead fast to the idea, you know what, I don't feel like it. I'm not working out. I found some excuse. My back was hurting or some other thing was going on with me. So I just decided, yeah, I'm not going to do it. And guess what happened? I did it. Because I came back to that vision of me waddling onto the stage of some famous person. Or even before that, let's say they book me on some show, right? They get me set up because I've done such a great job with my podcast, and they pull me in, and the host, Oprah, looks at me, Oprah Winfrey, she's like, and I meet her for the first time, and she looks at me, she's like, you don't look like someone living your best life. Now, and that would be true. That would be true. Let me break this down for you a little bit so you see where we're going with this. In order for you to live your best life, you've got to be able to visualize in your mind what that looks like. When it came to our relationship, I looked at my wife, and I look at her with such empathy, and I actually feel some regret and sadness in the fact that it took us so long to get where we are, right? It took us so long for us to finally just figure things out, and it's sad. But when that started, the only thing I had in my mind was I could see me and her being friends. I could see us having tough discussions without all of the drama. with tools that we can use so when things go the way they used to go, we can just back away. And it's an indicator that I just step away and that we don't have to fight about it. It doesn't have to be resolved right now, right? And it was only by visualizing that great relationship that I'm able to evaluate our interactions based on it. I'm in a great relationship. She made a comment about me not doing enough dishes. Guess what? I do dishes. It doesn't matter. Because ultimately, what I see for me and for her is for ultimate trust, just to roll, just for us to be such good friends. Now, there is a downside to that. I've discovered that living your best life does have a downside when it comes to your relationship, because if you're rolling on the right path, if you're headed down the right direction, and there's a point when your relationship gets really good. And it's a friendship. It's more than just we're married. It is, hey, dude, what are you doing? You want to come and play with me, right? You want to come and hang out with me? I really dig you. Tell me your stories, right? Is that when you build that type of a life, whether it's your relationship or whether it's the things you do, it's really going to suck to say goodbye to it. So just so you know, if you jump on this living your best life train, and you decide, all right, I'm going to do this now, and you start rolling, just let me warn you ahead of time that there's going to come a time in your life, like there is in everybody's life, when you're going to look back and you're going to say, damn, that was fun. I want to do more of that. And you simply can't. You run out of time. The cool part about that is that's still a hell of a lot better than realizing you ran out of time and you look back at your life and you think, God, I wish I hadn't done so much of that. God, I wish I hadn't worked so goddamn hard. God, I wish I hadn't done this. I wouldn't have done that. In the end, living your best life, that's the difference, right? When you think about where you're going in your life, when you think about where you want to be in your life for the things that you value, it has to start with you spending time with you. Because it's going to be you who creates the story that allows you to see where you want to go. And when you make that story great, that's when you find the motivation and the energy to get through the tough times. Week's been tough. Take a listen back a few podcasts and you'll hear the struggle that I'm facing in trying to get a good podcast out. 3-4 takes. I never do 3 or 4 takes on a podcast. Usually I can do one, bam, go, right? It was about visualizing where I'm at right now, what the impact I'm having on your life. And I don't know if it's actually happening or not. I don't know if you're actually being motivated or feeling motivated to take action in your life, but I believe that. I believe that there's someone right now listening to this and you will show up again tomorrow because, number one, it isn't costing you anything. And even if there are times when you're like, oh, come on, dude, really? I believe because of the story I created, because I can see it, that there's some value in this, that there are things in between all the mess ups, all the all the lookaways, all the things you see about this or hear about this that you don't like. There's an abundance of information that you can use. Because let's face it, what's at risk here? If you try a few things, if you take action in your life and you say, okay, this is what I see. Hey, baby, what do you see? And you sit down at the table and you have something to get excited about. And then you talk it out and then you build a story around it. Once that story is created, once that image is created in your mind, you have something to work towards. You have something to work after, to go after. And the ticket then is to continue to remind yourself of that story, to continue to recall that image in your mind. Because when things suck, when you're sitting there going, God, why can't I do this? Why? It's that image of where you're going. It's the idea of where this trip is taking you, where this path is going to lead you that will get you through the tough spots. It'll get you to climb over those hurdles. It'll push you to learn more, to work harder, to share more. But if you can't see it, you can't be it. You know what I see? I see my book being a bestseller. I see my podcast blowing up, and I have a million podcast followers, and everybody's just talking about who this new guy is on the scene, right? Now, here's a little side story to this. All right, so I haven't been on LinkedIn in a while, and I got to just shout out here because I love you guys. Thank you, LinkedIn, for accepting me, for embracing me. I just keep hitting connection requests. I'm like, wow, they like me. Or maybe they want something from me. Either way, I'll give you what I have, right? Okay, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you live your best life. But thank you guys. But I get this idea in my head about doing a podcast. And of course, obviously, I do a daily podcast. And here, they've been running long, right? I don't know why. I guess I'm just into it. But I'm seeing this thing grow, and I show up on the scene with Facebook or with LinkedIn, and people haven't heard of me, and all of a sudden I'm all over the place. I'm doing a podcast a day, I'm loading up videos, and I'm not even doing back segments. I mean, like I said, I got a stack of videos, a stack of podcasts, but I show up and all of a sudden I just get this amazing reception. And it's a great building point for me, because when I look at those interactions, I look at where it can go. I look at my numbers. My numbers have been growing. I mean, my downloads are rocking right now, and it's just cool as hell because it adds value to my life. So what I do is I create a story around it that makes me even work harder to be better at it. I want to be more efficient. I want to be better at living life. And I want to make sure that I'm grabbing as much of it as I can from that. So I'm always going, okay, the story is what? All right, the story is we're living an amazing life. Well, what does that look like? Well, it looks like this. It's about getting some stuff done. It's about doing stuff that's tough. It's about staying in shape. It's about driving yourself and asking yourself questions about why you do what you do. And if you don't have a great answer, creating a new story, creating a new vision for your life, and then going after it. Now, here's the deal. If you tell other people about it, they're going to squash it. The world is full of dream crushers. The inmates at work, the inmates used to call me. I'd come into the class and I'd do a TED Talk. So I would drive in the morning, which was just the perfect amount of time. It took me 20 minutes to get to work. And in that 20 minutes, I'd get to listen to the most recent TED Talks. And then about 9 o'clock, after I got all my admin work done, I'd go into the classroom and I'd have a TED Talk session with the guys, usually about an hour. And it was really cool. It was really cool because in my mind, I'm changing their lives. I am. And that's what gives me the energy to face the ridicule. Because let's face it, as a teacher, the relationship between staff and inmate changes just a little bit. Everybody knows the rules, but it's a little more relaxed and they're a little more free to talk some smack to me about what I do and what I'm about, right? And so it was kind of interesting because I'd have one thing going on. I'd go there, give this TED Talks, and I'd have this vision in my mind, and then I'd come out of there and I'd be feeling really good about it. And one of my tutors would come into the office, "Hey, boss, can I talk to you?" And I'd be, yeah, talk to me. What the hell was that, right? So sometimes you can get way off the vision, right? Sometimes you can miss it. But the action is about the image. The action is about the story you build around what you want your life to look like. And that's where you find the motivation to make it better. And what role do I play in this? I just keep reminding you. I don't mind. I got to do something with my life. I might as well follow up on my dream to change the world, right? After my dad died, I decided I was going to change the world. I was going to stop being angry. I was going to prove to the world and to myself that I can do more. I can do better. I can actually take the opportunity I have today and every day, and I can live the heck out of it. I can wake up and grab more. And what's funny is Sandy and she says, "My God, we don't get done working out and doing our thing until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We have to actually schedule time in order for us to go see stuff, because I'm not missing that workout because I created a story around it. I've got a story in my mind around why I'm doing that, and that makes it important to me." And the other thing is repetition. You do it for a while, and when you first start doing it, it hurts. When you first start doing it, you suck at it. And then all of a sudden the story builds, and pretty soon that just becomes your story. So there are a lot of ways to find motivation to live your best life. There are a lot of ways to find the motivation to break out of the life you're living, to take a new path, to knock down some walls, or to go down a new channel to something that you've never experienced. And being able to see it is an important part of that. Being able to wake up and visualize where you're going to be when you face that struggle. And it works. I guarantee it works. I promise if you try it, if you apply it to something in your life, maybe it's your physical fitness, maybe it's your relationship. I'm not sure where that needs to go. That's up to you. But pick something, visualize it, see it in your mind, and hold that vision in your mind every day. Have conversations about it. You might not want to talk to anybody else, but talk to yourself about where you're going. You can be the amazing dude, this is where I'm headed. You can be that girl, right? Whatever your dream is, whatever your vision is for your life, and then keep that conversation going. And then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to take action on it because the story is just too good to avoid. It's too good to sit still. So I don't know, I could go on. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm owning this. I own this. This is my spot. I create this. This has never been created before, and I have an idea and a dream in my head. My vision is that I'm going to change your life. You're going to wake up one day, and because I took the time to show up, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be living a life you never imagined you could, and you will have accomplished things you never dreamed you would. So keep that in mind. Let's not forget about the kindness, and as always, just remember, today's your day. Make it a good one.